I've made up I've made a right thing of this. Oh dear. Hello and welcome to VollGazzRacing Season 10, Division 1, Round 4 here at India. I have completely butchered the qualifying settings, so that is my bad. Yeah, it seems like I've made a complete mess of all the settings. So I probably will quit the session and make sure everything's correct afterwards. Because we're going to have to anyway because Bradley is judged. But anyway, so qualifying for 5-minute qualifying for these guys. Obviously, it's a bit less dramatic than Division 2 had, simply because these guys can actually just return to pit and go again. Which shouldn't happen, but that's because I'm an idiot and set the lobby up wrong. So into the final sector comes Platt as he just hits the time now. And now just one more corner to negotiate as Deck joins the session. I believe he is going to be a spectator. As into the final corner. And he powers the RC213V up to the line to set a 1:39.5. Then we got Craig, who is now coming up to the line. Apparently he has very strong pace today, so we'll have to wait and see. As he crosses the line, a 39.7 is Joe, the lag master, is on 3 red sectors despite still being in the second sector. He is just that good that he's managed to do 3 sectors for not even being in the second one. That is some incredible form that is for Joe on board the Mooney VR46 Ducati. As Sky Adif, who ran in Division 2 earlier, I won't say how he did, but he did a very strong performance, let's say, and he's powering up to the line now. What kind of lap time is he going to produce? It is a 40.7. Now, Joe, 3 red sectors, as I said, don't be fooled. It definitely will be 3 orange sectors, and he's probably going to go into 4th place. Told you, I'm a genius. VTR, he missed last round due to being on holiday, and he has not been able to do a lot of running for this round, so he has got some work to do on board the RSGP Aprilia. As he activates the ride out device and his personal best into sector 1, simply due to not setting a lap at all so far. As now we go into the chicane, and Vitor validates he's lucky that I set the lobby up wrong so we can get another go at it. There's Platt now will go on board the cockpit cam as he approaches the final sector. Craig with a red sector 2, but I have a feeling that Platt is about to put the marker out, probably a low 39, I'd imagine. Up to line, a 1:39.3, and Craig has lost a bit of time. But in the final sector, let's see what he can do. 3 tenths off. That is that's the closest thing I've ever seen anyone to Platt in one of these sessions where it's full dry conditions, no reason why the car he only improves by 2 thousandths of a second, but still, to be just under 4 tenths off is very impressive. Here we go, these guys are getting their final laps in now. Nelson, the unlucky party. In Mugello, he had a secure second place, which he completely threw away on the last lap. He'll be avoiding that today, I'm sure. That'll be in the back of his mind come the last lap, no matter what position he's in. He does have Platt behind him. I think he'd rather have Platt in front of him as a marker. As Giammi is on board the Prima Pramac Racing Ducati, teammates with Craig. I have no idea how his pace will be, but he's running a Jack Miller replica helmet from a couple of years ago, so we'll wait and see how he gets on as he approaches the 3rd sector. He's in the 3rd sector, around this really long radius right-hander, going right up to the curb, and then cutting back for a late apex, and the bike doesn't seem to lift too bad for him, so maybe he's it's maybe his bike set up for the wheelies. As we now enter the final sector, and it's just Jam and Nelson left on valid laps. VTR and Jack Berman unable to set a valid lap time. And here comes Jammy up to the line, and he goes fourth. I think as long as these guys just finish a lap, they'll beat Joe. Joe, a very respectable lap time of a 1 minute 42.893, which isn't respectable at all in this division. As Nelson crosses the line to go into fifth. So we have it. Platt in first on pole like normal. Craig in second. He's looking like a very strong shout for second place. Maybe when if Platt makes a mistake. Sky Deep in third. Jam G in fourth. Nelson in fifth. Joe in sixth. Jack Berman in seventh. BTR in eighth. And Fadley, who will start in ninth.
To go out here at the Bud circuit. Just a few moments more and the race will start.
So we'll let these guys have a practice start. Wow, Craig shot off the line.
The riders do their cool down laps, let's take a look at the final classification of the race we've just seen.
I'm not. I need to check if Deck is riding. Hello, Wally and Tyre Sucks. Clean start. Yeah, very clean start. Usually are clean when things go wrong. Let's see, right, the grid. Let's get that sorted. We'll wait and find out what's going on. Right, we're ready to go. Right, congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, it was great to finally win. Took a while, but finally got it done. But today's not about me; it's about these guys who are about to race. make sure you watch the MotoGP Esports Global Series Round 2 on the 15th of September, I want to say it is. I'll double check that date. Yeah, the 15th. At the Saxon Ring, Motegi and Mandalika. So we now just wait for people to ready up. Light work. I wouldn't say it was light work. It was... Nah. It wasn't light work because obviously you got to stay focused and everything, but the pace that was naturally good enough to win. Yeah, I'm sure you will, Waldo. I'm sure you will. Right, let's get going.
We're ready for the lights to go out here at the Bud circuit. Just a few moments more and the race will start.
Craig's helmet is, for some strange reason, changed. But, maybe the lights are on. And we are off. A good start for the front two, and it looks like Platt is going to be the one to get the whole shot to two, unless Craig sends it up the inside, which he tries to do, but Platt just simply taking too much corner speed and holds onto the lead, as it is Nelson who is in third place. As we go round the hairpin for the first time, Nelson goes underneath Craig and moves into second place. Great start there by Nelson. The two VR46 Mooney Ducatis having an absolute stinker of a start. Obviously Platt should be on that, but he was signed to Repsol before the Mooney announcement could be made, which is why he's there. And here we go into the braking zone for turn 4 for the first time, and there's a Aprilia going really wide. That is who is that? That's VTR completely out braking himself. As Nelson, he threw away a victory. No, sorry, not victory, a second place that was on a plate for him, and he's starting to hunt down Platt. I can't see it, to be honest, unless Platt makes some form of mistake, but Nelson already trying to apply the pressure on the Repsol Honda rider. It's further back we got Jammy and VTR, as my charging cable's having a nightmare, and Jack Berman in fourth place. Much better showing from Jack compared to the last round. He was having a stinker in Mugello. Whoa, and that is Jammy running wide and allowing Sky Deef to move into... Oh, Fadley's gone down. Moves Sky Deef into fifth place and VTR into sixth. As Jammy goes up the inside of VTR and forces his way through. On VTR, very aggressive there, and you got Joe in the background just being slow as ever. And Jack Verman, and a little bit of lag there, thankfully. Nothing going wrong there. Platt now nearly has a 1 second lead. We'll see just tip over and the exit this corner, I think. 7, 8, 9, bang, second. But Jack now is closing on Craig. I don't know if Craig made a mistake of some sort, but let's watch as that GP3 23 Ducati closes in on the Prima Pramac Ducati in the slipstream. The green number 6 pulls out to the inside. Will he make the move? He does. He little bit of contact, and he is through. Nice block pass there by the factory Ducati rider, and Sky Leaf has gone straight on into turn 4. Don't quite know what's happened there as we now go into turn 5. So whoa, and Craig, he's meant to have really good pace, but something's gone wrong there. I don't know what. I think he just got caught up in the turbulent air of the wings that the Ducatis have, and the other bikes have, and you can experience in this game. And that has cost him 0.8 of a second. And you got Jammy and VTR here, who aren't so far behind, and are still within the shout of the podium. Only 2 laps gone, and there'll be another 4 to go when they cross the line. Nelson, I have to say, is keeping Platt honest. Like, this is not what I was expecting at all. He is still within a second. Oh, VTR's gone down, and oh my! How has Jammy stayed on? That is unbelievable. That's been one of the scariest things I've ever seen, and Jammy has survived smashing into the bike. That's allowed Joe to now move into 6th place. I presume though he'll be falling under the pressure of VTR and Sky Deef in the coming laps. As Platt sets the fastest lap of the race, but I can't think Nelson's fastest lap is too far away. I'm trying to see. It's Nelson got a soft rear end. You can't quite see. No, he's got the medium in, but Nelson's doing really well here. I'm very impressed. Fully focused, head down. Fortunately, to get the battle for third place now has just opened up that little bit thanks to the VTR's mistaken crash. The Skydeef. So it's the two Aprilias now chasing after the Mooney VR46 of Joe, the Lagmaster, who's not actually lagging. Skydeef pulls out the slipstream of the factory Aprilia of VTR and moves into 7th place. He does not want the final point between position as VTR is going to brake himself once again into turn 4. Turn 4 is a very easy corner to brake yourself, especially if you're braking in the slipstream. Follow there in the background. I'm not quite. She hasn't been known in the past to start from nowhere and win races, but I feel like this is not going to be one of those days. And the turtle helmet of Joe didn't bring much luck to Rossi in Mugello 2013. I can't think it's bringing him much luck in this season either. As oh my god, Vito's going to go up the inside of the pair of them into this corner here, but just not able to. But Joe's leaving the door open. He's left the door open, and VTR's on him for chips. And now Skydeef goes up the inside of Joe as well for chips. So Joe giving out 2 free portions of chips there. I hope those two say thank you for that, because that was they made that look quite easy there. As Joe lags his way back into 7th place, he's being aggressive. He doesn't want to finish. He doesn't want to take the last point paying position. He wants as many points as possible. As we start lap number 4 for these guys. Skydeef did a very good job. You know, yeah, he might have crashed. Bit of lag there. He might have crashed, but he's definitely got some decent pace. He goes up the inside of Joe into turn 1. He runs wide, and Joe's going to retake the place. Nice battle between these two. The Malaysian versus the Brit into the hairpin. Owen Fadley's got a long lap penalty, so they went after. That just takes a bit of pressure off these two as well. They're battling. Fadley will be closing in quite easily. And look at Skydeef, who is in 7th place, but Joe's going to move to the left. Lag his way through into 7th place, back at 7th place even. And into turn 4, Joe's just missed the apex ever so slightly. Still don't know what Joe's main problem is with this game, but he is just not as competitive as he has been for the past 3 games. But you know, give him a few months. Hopefully by the end of the season, whatever his problems are, they'll click. And he can get back to fighting for the podium positions like he should be, as he goes up the inside of a decent there nearly. But just due to the profile of the chicane is, he is forced to back out, and he has lost about half a second there. As Jamie now starting to put Craig under pressure. So Craig, I was told he's got pace for 2nd place. He proved it in qualifying. He had a fantastic qualifying pace, and it's just ever so slightly dwindled. And now he's not even fighting for the podium. So I'm sure for the sprint race, you know, he might have just actually put on the wrong tyre. You know, these things happen. But he's got the hard front tyre on, so I can't think he's made a mistake. And I don't think he's got the soft rear end either. So maybe maybe he's just not simply feeling it. It could be just one of those things. As now his teammate is closing in half a second the gap. 2 laps to go. As we exit the first sector. Well, no, sorry, no. The first sector ends a lot further on, but we come to the back straight now, and the Pramac Ducati will be closing in on his teammate, the Italian, on the Brit with the added slipstream. But he has braked quite deep. There's no way he's going to get that stopped. There you go. He runs straight on. Well, not straight on, but he has to run quite a bit wide, and that's lost him just a couple of tenths of a second, and the gap's back to 6 tenths. Oh, but Craig seems to be having. I think corner entry around this place is quite important, and I think people have just not got that feel to just chuck it in there. And and Craig's gone down. That is the classic crash at this track. You know, they changed direction from right to left, and for some strange reason, the rear. I don't know, it's just because there's a bit of a change in the elevation of the track, but the rear just goes ever so slightly. The front goes ever so slightly light. You change direction, the rear then lets go, and you're just off, and and Craig gets the grass as well, and then that's going to let VTR move into 5th place. Very nice work there by VTR, and Craig. I call him Mr. Top 5 because it's very, you know, no matter what happens in these races, all this chaos, Craig is usually the man that, Skydeef's gone down again, but Craig is usually the one that finishes inside that top 5 every single time. But a bit of an uncharacteristic race from Craig here, but not for Platt. He had a bit of pressure from Nelson in the early laps, but once he broke the toe, it was easy for him. Nelson should have had second place in Mugello, but I think he's definitely avenging himself here. He's making sure he'll be taking this last lap extremely careful, I can imagine, because he's got a 3.3 second gap. There's no reason to take any form of risk. He does have a long lap penalty looming over him with track limits as the two Mooney VR46 bikes off Joe once again in a battle for 7th place. As his bikes lag so much that it sounds like he's on the pit limiter as he breaks into turn 4. The rear sliding, I think, I'm not quite sure, as Fadley has really closed up on him. They won't have to worry about Sky Leaf unless one of them crashes a Joe. And he lags right past Fadley. Thankfully, didn't knock him off. And Craig now is all over the back of the Aprilia. Can Mr. Top 5 get that crucial top 5 place to keep his nickname intact? Just 1, 2, 3, 4 more corners to go for these guys. But for Platt, it is going to be another video. Is Craig going to send it into this corner here? No, he's going to go around. Let's have a Platt fun for life. He is going to be your debut sprint winner in Division 1. Nelson will finish second. And Craig's got VTR. VTR's going to set up the inside. He's got the title line. Who's going to win the drag to the line? Oh, it's going to be, I think it's just going to be Craig who's going to, oh no, Craig's got a long lap in the process. I'm sure that'll go to decision. And it's a drag race as well for the two Mooney VR46 bikes. And it's going to be Fadley who's going to win out on that battle. Joe is going to take the final points playing position. And Hadif will finish in 9th. Wow.
Let's take a look at the final classification of this race. The riders are enjoying a well-deserved.
So it is Platt who wins grid race, with Nelson in second place, with Jack Berman in 3rd, Jamie in 4th, VTR 5th, Craig 6th, Hadif 7th, Joe 8th, and Fadley in 9th.
Yes.
Wait. Right, so I now have to move this race to a 25% race, and then the grid order is of the race results. So this is important. I need to find out how Craig got his long lap penalty. So I'll take the assumption that it won't for now. So Nelson, very good job. He didn't have the greatest of qualifyings, but he made a great start, held on to Platt for dear life, and took a very respectable finish there in 2nd place. That's good for now. Right, so it's been confirmed that Craig's long lap penalty will stand, and we will get going now for the longer race. Ah, hello, Davide. Right, let's go.
We're ready for the lights to go out here at the Bud circuit. Just a few moments more and the race will start.
Right, so here we go. Lights are on. And we're off, and Nelson has had an absolute flyer. He takes the whole shot into turn one, and the rest follow as it looks like chaos at the back there, and that's a Ethan Craig down at turn one. I don't quite know how that happened, but the other Pramac Ducati rider Jamie has had to has lost a lot of places, and Fadley's gone down as well. And here comes Platt. He's gonna be in the slipstream. He's going to pull out to the right hand side, and he's going to go up the inside and take the lead of the race. Nelson's going to try and square him off, but unfortunately he just hasn't got the right line to do that, and he's going to have to submit for second place. His VTR has had a good start, and he's into third. Jack Bowman in fourth, Jamie in fifth, Joe in sixth, and you got all the three crashes at the back. Craig will be absolutely fuming about that, and his helmet's changed again. I would not be surprised if that's the actual cause of his downfall. Sounds strange enough, but a helmet design can be enough to put somebody off, so we'll have to wait and see. But so at the front, 7/10 lead already. It's over how the sprint race went. Vito we saw didn't have the greatest pace out of the guys, so we'll be about trying to hold on to this podium place as Jack Berman gets right to the back of him, as Jamie as well will be I'm sure will be in contention for the podium soon enough. But we move on to lap number 2. Lots of curb being ran here. It seems like the curves are very friendly. Most of the corners, and Craig's gone down, and Hadif's gone down in sympathy, it seems like. Turn 2 is a bit of a strange one to crash at, so I won't be surprised if there was actually some form of lag or collision that caused the crash to happen. as Jamie is looks to have closed in a little bit on Jack. And VTR's closed up on Nelson as well. Nelson not able to get away with Platt like he did in the sprint race. As Craig and Deep seem to be battling as well. Jack Bowman takes a very nice shortcut through the chicane. And VTR now looking good for a second. I did not see this coming. I know he's definitely got the talent for second place, but the sprint race just looked like a complete disaster. But seems like with the extra, well, the way the tyre and the fuel scaled, maybe just the longer races suit VTR better, and maybe just that little bit of more experience of those 6 extra laps have given him a little bit of data, improved the bike, improved his riding, and now he can be on for it could be on for a 4-way scrap here for second place. On to lap number 3, into turn 1, hard on the brakes, 90-degree right-hander. All riders seem to be doing that nicely. I say that as Jamie completely blows turn 1 and has lost about half a second. I mean, you see the different variants of racing lines through the hairpin there. Some people taking it tighter, some taking it wider. As we now enter turn 4, hard on the brakes. After this is sector 2. So last time Nelson had a rider behind him catching. He did go down on the last lap. I will repeat that. That was at Mugello. He had the second place in the bag, near enough. He just had to ride sensibly and unfortunately clipped the curb and went down at turn 4. So I'm sure that'll be on his mind. Make sure he doesn't make that mistake again. But he's riding well. He seems to have made a step from rounds 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. And he's making that Aprilia shine. As I said in the background, this is the 5th manufacturer that Nelson's rode for. The only other manufacturer I think he didn't ride for was Suzuki, and obviously can't ride with them anymore. So, you know, he's not scared to go on any kind of bike. He will ride anything. As we've now hit the first quarter. Platt's gone down at turn 1, but this isn't MotoGP 22, and he does actually get on the bike a lot quicker than normal. So he's able to hold on to the lead. If that was 22, he probably would have been about 4th place by now. But it seems like he's gone for that mistake. Nelson will try and get in the slipstream and try and hold on to get some form of tow, but I just don't think that's going to happen unless Platt crashes or makes another mistake. And Nelson, he's always gone in hot into turn 4. Go on the curb as well, but it seems like he's seen Platt and he's just able to extend that gap a bit as Craig now goes up the inside of Joe, and Joe, the pair of them are completely blown the corner. But yeah, that's not a great showing by the pair of them, but Joe completely outbraking himself. It's now through the chicane, and that was VTR running quite hot into the chicane. I think he might have cut it as well just to try and avoid losing time, take the track limits warning that quite a lot of people are taking at that chicane. We see this a lot with Nelson. He's able to just, if he's in that kind of mood and that feel, he's got the feeling of the bike. If he can hold on to someone who's a little bit faster than him, he will, and he will just be able to put in this fantastic rhythm and pace until that toe disappears, and then everything would just go back to normal. And it is allowing him to get away from his teammate, as VTR is just, he was right on the back of him, and now he's 8 tenths behind. So we're just going to wait and see how this race unfolds. Lap 5, we have gone past the first third of this race now, and into the hairpin once more. Down the back straight, you can see the humps and the dips down the straight. The suspension, luckily the braking zone for them is actually quite flat, so you just flattens out there as you get into the braking zone. The profile of the apex is a little bit weird. It just turns in on itself, but it's not a problem in flat. I think it's just about broke the toe from Nelson, and we're going to see that gap just keep on increasing exponentially as VTR once again misses the apex of the chicane, and he has got another another track limits warning since the last lap. So VTR's got to be careful. 2 more warnings, and that will be a long lap penalty for him, and he doesn't want that. So who's going to finish the top of Aprilia here is VT. As I've said before, like, Nelson can get into this thing of following someone, and then once that toe just goes, the pace all of a sudden plateaus back to normal. Which obviously his pace isn't slow anyway, it's good enough for second place, but oh, Tadler's gone down again. But you've seen VTR, it seems like VTR maybe just has a little bit extra pace compared to Nelson, but maybe making a few more mistakes because of the lack of practice to his markers, and his experience with maybe the worn tyres just aren't quite there as Nelson's is, and maybe Nelson's setup might be just a little bit more refined. We try and see how the fast are going on the speed of it. It's a bit laggy, but looking at 330, 320, 330 kilometers an hour. I think the bit of blipping on the throttle, I can't quite tell if it was blipping or just the way the bike sounded when you go on board in online mode. As we now, oh, Jammy's crashed. Jammy has gone down, and that might promote Craig into the top 5. No, I think no. Craig's going to be what, 2.5 seconds? Yeah, 2.5 seconds from his teammate. So that gives Craig a chance to try and catch somebody, gives a marker to follow. As Nelson once again extends that gap, and he hasn't lost that much time to Platt, so it seems like Nelson, either Platt might have just turned it down a bit because he has got a couple of warnings under his name. There you go, 4 warnings, 1 more and he's going to have a long lap penalty. And I don't think the long lap doesn't exist around this place, with it being new, and I don't think, and with the procedures not taking place yet to get it installed. And Joe and Hadith once again resuming their battles from earlier on. Joe also changing numbers. He's gone from being number 31 to 26, so must be a bit of a glitch going on with some of the riders and their helmets and their numbers. And Jack Berman is the first one to pick up a long lap penalty. And Platt now has extended his lead over half a second to 2.3 seconds. Sort of ranging all over the place. And Hadif going on to the green paint, the dark green paint onto the grass as well. Maybe just trying to avoid Joe's lag. Oh dear. Into turn number 4. Looks like it's going to be 2.9. It is going to be a 9th place of Fadl at the moment. I can imagine Hadif has just been a little bit careful because Joe's going backwards and forwards, being the lag master that he is renowned to be. Knows his actual name on PlayStation when you invite, if you're a close friend to him. His name literally is Lag Master Joe, so it's just one of his USPs, I guess, since 2019. I do believe he lives on a farm. I'm not quite 100% sure, but it won't surprise me as his lag is knocked off Hadif. I have to black flag him just for, I can't. Fortunately, probably should have done that before, but. So Nelson has broke VTR off. VTR did look like he was going to be on for second place, closing the gap down to 4 tenths, but for whatever reason, it's just gone away from him. And now it is up to VTR. I would use the front wheel cam to see the suspension, but unfortunately the camera's just positioned a little bit different, and yeah, the position of the wings this year is really blocks the view, unfortunately, so you can't see as much as you used to. I used to always love seeing the suspension bottoming out and everything, but you can't see that anymore with the way the aerodynamics are evolving year on year in MotoGP. And VTR running just a bit wide there, but he's got to be careful. He's one warning away from a long lap. Jack already having a long lap, so he'll be hoping VTR just runs a little bit wide somewhere or cuts the inside of a corner, and then that'll put him in the prime position for a podium battle. As Jack goes up the inside, nearly into the final corner. Not quite able to do so. And Jack goes up the inside of VTR into turn 1. Sky Edith has gone down once again. With Fadley, it looks like, potentially. Nope. But Jack moves into third place. Another podium place under the cards potentially for Jack, but he does have a long lap. VTR, as I said, doesn't. So VTR's just got to he's just got to keep it all 2 wheels in track limits for the next 4 laps, and not lose 3 seconds. I don't know what my brain's doing today. It's having a bit of funny moments. Oh, VTR braking in the slipstream. Don't be doing that, but he's got that Aprilia turn better. Nando Ducati, he's in the slipstream. He's going to pull out to the left using the little boost he'll get. Hold on the brakes up the inside. He's into turn 5. Jack's round wide. VTR doesn't move into the podium places. He brakes super early, and I thought he was going to get a warning there, but he doesn't. And he goes up the inside of Jack into turn 8 through this long right-hander. I do really like that corner. It's you sat there sort of waiting forever for the bike to just start, to be able to put the power on and start making the bike turn. But Jack, here we go. He's going up the inside into the final corner, and he's got it done. But VTR will get the better exit and the slipstream. He's going to pull out to the right-hand side of the circuit, and he's going to go up the inside on the brakes. Block pass. He barges Jack out the way, but Jack's going to hold it round the outside of his former Suzuki teammate from a few seasons ago, and he taxes the apex. And VTR's going to go up the inside into the hairpin. Nice block pass, but Jack's going to sit the bike up. Going to take the slipstream from the Aprilia. Bit of wheelie though. Doesn't seem like he's using the ride-out device out of that corner compared to VTR. Here comes the Desmond Sadici power blast past the Aprilia. And he's going to actually pull in front of VTR to make sure he has dirty air. But VTR goes up the inside anyway, barges his way past through. The 2 Italian manufacturers battling out here. And VTR holds firm in third place for now. I feel like this battle could carry on for the rest of the race as Platt now nearly 5 seconds to lead now. Still could get a long lap penalty. But even if he does get a long lap penalty, it's going to take a crash as well to give Nelson a chance of winning this race. Oh, and Jamie's gone down as well, so that puts Craig into the top 5, Mr. Top 5. Looking to cross the line inside the top 5 once again. As Jack goes up the inside of VTR, the final corner. He seems to have a lot better line through there, but VTR, just because he takes a wider entry, he's able to get more power to the ground and better exit. And he comes Jack up the inside into turn 1. Once again, it's deja vu from 2 laps ago. And Jack Berman is into the podium positions once more, but VTR through turn 2, he's taking the tighter line. Is he going to go up the inside? No, he's going to hold it round the outside. And now he's going to try and undercut. And the 2 go side by side down the straight. You've got to give the power advantage to the Ducati, but VTR's in the slipstream. He pulls to the right, and he's just about leveled, and this is the perfect position for block pass. If they just break at the same point, VTR's got the corner one, and Fadley's gone down, and VTR is through. Nicely done, but Jack's going to set the bike up a lot earlier, get on the fatter part of the tyre, out drives the Aprilia, and VTR is forced to concede the position, and Jack Bowen has finally moved into third place, but he's ran wide, and the Aprilia's going to go back up the inside, but he's just taking enough corner speed to not lose the advantage. We've seen VTR fight back immediately before through here into this corner here, but unfortunately Jack hasn't made a mistake this time, and VTR might be forced to concede fourth place, but as long as he stays within track limits for the next lap and a half, third place will be his anyway. So we are approaching now the final lap of this race in India. Platt, it has been nearly a perfect race. One small crash and 4 track limit excursions. But it looks like it's going to be a 4th victory in a row, plus 1 sprint. And look at Jack, he's already pulled out once. Oh, Platt's got a long lap penalty, but that doesn't mean anything, to be honest. As Jack Berman now, he's already extended the gap to VTR by 1 second. If he can do that per sector, then that's going to be enough. But I feel like VTR hasn't got that big of a pace deficit. We'll have to keep an eye on it, as I think Fadley and Skydeep are having a nice battle here for the wooden spoon. The Malaysian versus the Indonesian, RNF versus VR46. It's not been a good race for either of these guys. Crashes and mistakes all over the place. But it looks like they're having a good battle anyway. Look at these weaving all over the place like it's Moto3. And Fadley goes up the inside of the Aprilia as they go into turn 4. As Platt is about to round the penultimate corner. One more corner to negotiate, and Platt is going to make it 5 race wins if you include the sprint on the bounce. He's won all 3 rounds before. He's done the double here in India. And Nelson, it's 2 second places. He should have had second in Mugello. He's finally got that second place here in India. Jack Berman will cross the line in 3rd place, but VTR will pick up the podium position. And Craig crosses the line, and he is in 5th with Jamie, who will cross the line in 6th, and I think the session might just automatically end, possibly, because Hadith and Fadley are too busy messing about. Up. I don't quite understand how that works, but I'm interested to see which one of these actually wins. It looks like it's going to be Fadley. Yep.
Let's take a look at the final classification.
So it's Platt who wins in front of Nelson in 2nd, VTR 3rd, Jack Berman 4th, Craig in 5th, Jamie in 6th, Skydeep in 7th, and Fadley rounds out the field in 8th, with Joe finishing 9th as well. So we'll move on to the interviews. First up, we'll talk to the 3rd place man in that race, VTR. Hello, so VTR, your first race back after a holiday, and it seemed like you could have challenged your teammate for 2nd place there, but ultimately maybe just that lack of practice time cost you the chance to have a proper go at 2nd, but you still got the podium anyway. Yep. So congratulations on your return to the podium. We'll now move on to the second place man, which was Nelson. Nelson, I assume you could hear me, but the amount of times I mentioned last week's catastrophic mistake, and this time in the sprint and in this one, you made sure that didn't happen. What I did notice was if Platt was ever within a second of you, you used him to your advantage and allowed him to drag you along and take you away from the battle behind. Was that your main plan for today?
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, like, congrats to VTR and Platt for the podium. But nah, my strategy today was just from the qualifying onwards. I was like, okay, I mean, I'm kind of struggling here, so I was actually backing off a little bit so I could, like, you know, make sure I stayed on the bike, stayed a little bit consistent. But for some reason, like, you know, after a few corners, I got into second behind Platt, and Platt just, like, showed me some things on the track that I wasn't doing before, which actually helps me being consistent and also helps me crash less, because I was taking too much risk at certain corners where I saw him not take any risk. So I kind of started copying him a lot behind him, and he just dragged me along, to be honest, and got amazing lap times behind him. And every time he made a mistake or crashed, he just, like, you know, I could follow him pretty well, and I could keep up with him somewhat. So yeah, I mean, in the race itself, it became a strategy. Once I come close, I'm gonna just try my hardest to stay there so I can increase the gap behind me. And yeah, I mean, after last week, this feel really rewarding to get 2 second places behind Platt and actually be and feel competitive. So yeah, I hope I can carry this on the remaining of the season. And yeah, congrats to everybody, and I will see you guys next week.
Yeah, so well done on your 2 second places. As we now move on to our double race winner in Platt. So Platt, just nearly perfect, just 1 crash and 1 long lap for you, but apart from that, pretty perfect. How was the race for you? Yep. So well done on that double. So that has been it for another week. Round 5 will be next week. And yeah, hopefully we get some more of the same of that kind of battling, because that was actually quite entertaining to watch. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.